Okay. Okay, for those of you who were here last time when we went over this property, it's been a little while because Lena brought it and we had put in an offer with a range to the seller to buy it. The problem was he had a family member living there that he couldn't get out. He turned down the range that we offered, which I think was 1 to 120. Is that right, Lena?
Oh, we offered less than 100,000.
Okay.
Mhm.
I think you since went back to with 120. Is that right?
Yeah, that was the last offer yesterday.
Because so we offered a range sight unseen because we did a little we spent time, there's a recording of that analyzing it, and it looks pretty good. So she went back with 120 and he still said no. The problem is he wasn't able, so he said he would just evict himself and then sell it. He also said he has other offers. However, he was unable to get the eviction, and the reason that was told to Lena is that as long as he owns it, he can't get the person out. My guess as the reason for that is because he probably has no lease, so it's not an eviction, it's a trespass action, so it'd be easier for a new owner to get him out. That's my guess. I don't know for sure. I wasn't in court, but based on what he told Lena, that's my guess. So what we are going to do tonight is take a look at this property, take a look at some comps. Excuse me, I've been under the weather. And sorry. Try to come up with some creative solution. All right, so I'm going to share my screen. This is the property. If I can get it, find it here. Hold on, I have to bring my browser to the front. It's not finding it.
We still can't see your screen.
Yeah, sorry, I haven't found
Okay.
it yet. Okay, here we go. Now, can you see it?
Yes.
Yes, okay. So this is
Yes.
the house. For those of you who weren't here or don't remember. Sorry. Okay, Zillow's no good for comps, so we looked at some other comps. Here is a very recent comp, which is right down the street. Did my screen switch to a different property? So you see that 499. Okay, this is actually right down the street, but let's look. It's 4-bedroom, 2-bath, 2120 square feet. Ours is 3-bedroom, 1-bath, 1230 square feet. For those of you who didn't check the Slack and the general tab, Lena drove and took some actual pictures of our property if you want to check those out. This house sold for $499,900. It is larger, it has more bedrooms, and it has been rehabbed. Taking a quick look at the pictures, you can see that someone has gone in there and fixed it up. I don't know if they're living there, if that's staging. Looks a bit like staging to me, so could have been an investor. Hard to say. And it's not, it's not completely rehabbed. They didn't update that tub too much, but it has been updated. Let's go back and look at the kitchen. It's got outbuilding. Oh, nice outbuilding.
Yeah, and that house is like 300 feet away. It's just right
Really
there.
close, yeah. All right, so let's see the kitchen real quick. Flip through these pretty quickly. They didn't, that's probably, that is not new kitchen cabinets. So it's an update, but it's not an entire remodel. So wow, that's a level 1 granite. That's not even granite. All right, that's Formica. And look, it's messed up over here on the side. Huh. So they did some updating, but at first I thought that was a full rehab. Substance, you live near there? Can you unmute and talk?
Yeah, I do. That's pretty much around the corner from me.
So you're real familiar with the neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, chime in anytime about your take on value. Okay. It's $499.9. That's $235 a square foot. Okay, this is another nearby comp. Did my screen change again to 400 North Krigler? Okay.
Mhm.
And this house, it appears, has not been rehabbed any, because it's not in bad shape, but it's got some real funky colors on the walls. Personally, I love that color, but it's not for everyone. So there's, and look, those are real old kitchen cabinets. Those have been nothing done to this house, no updating, no rehab, nothing. Well, they got going some kind of home business there. Maybe t-shirt printing, I guess, huh? Okay. Okay, so the price on this was $230. That's 1,057 square foot, so that's $217 a square foot. So applying that range to our property, our would be 266,000 at $217 a square foot, and 289 at 235. So I have just used that for my comp purposes, and get back and reshare. Share. All right, so I've used those comps for these purposes. 266 to 289 and asking price of 150. The problem is this real tricky, because if you look at those pictures that Lena put in Slack, did everybody look at them? If not, take a quick second and run over there and look at them. It's in the general tab. She put them in there today, so it'll be the most recent thing. It doesn't look like it's in bad shape from the outside. I can't. Lena, did you ask him anything about the roof? Does he know how old it is?
No, he said he hasn't changed the roof. He was planning on changing it, but he never got the chance to.
Okay, so let's assume we need a new roof.
Mhm.
You can't really tell from the pictures, but you know, from these pictures that Lena has here, it doesn't look in bad shape, right? I mean, the siding looks okay. Is it vinyl siding, Lena, or is it wood?
It looks like wood to me.
It looks like wood to me too. What do you think, Substance? Have you, most houses in the area wood? It looks like wood to me, but I can't tell for sure. I mean, so you almost have to assume new roof and new HVAC, and that's 15,000. And we have no idea what the interior looks like. So that's our problem. Our problem is we have
Yeah,
no idea.
I'm seeing your PowerPoint.
Yeah, I'm sorry, you have to go in the Slack to look at her pictures. Did
Okay.
everybody look at them? I can try to bring them up if you want to do it that way. Hold on. Are you seeing them now?
There we
Seeing
go.
them?
Yep.
Okay, so she has 3 pictures in here. One, so I mean, that looks like wood to me. It does not look like vinyl siding. And it does not look like it's in bad shape. It doesn't really look like it needs painted. But it's really, you know, it's hard to tell from these little pictures. The front looks decent. Oh, sorry, she only put 2 pictures. I thought there was 3. 2.
Definitely need a roof.
Yeah, definitely needs a roof. So if we figure a roof and an HVAC, you know, just roughly figure 15,000. Okay, let's go back. Now, are you seeing the PowerPoint again? No.
No,
Yeah.
I don't know why Zoom does that, where you have to stop share and reshare. If you want to switch. Okay, now you're back at the PowerPoint.
Yes.
So, I mean, it's hard to imagine that's gonna be $100,000 worth of work, but if you trash the whole inside, we just don't know. It doesn't look like anything's gonna be rotten. I mean, it just makes the task really, really difficult. We can't assess the cost of repairs because we can't get access. So what we're here to do tonight is to see if we can think of any creative ways. I will tell you the ones that I came up with. We could send him a letter or an email, or I don't know how you communicate with him, Lena. I know you probably talked to him. I would probably want this to be in writing, and then maybe you could follow it up with a call. But I thought we could offer 3 options, okay? $100,000, we'll purchase it sight unseen, no matter what's wrong with it. We'll evict the tenant and wholesale the property, okay? The problem with this is it's not a true wholesale, right? Because we have to buy it. So that means I have to go to the NC REA board and get their permission, which I'm sure will be fine. We actually have to get the money and buy it. And then we could evict the tenant, then we could still wholesale it. But that's not a true wholesale. Like, the point of this class is to get under contract and not have to close on it, right? But that's really not possible because he is unable to evict as long as he owns it. So unless there's a deed change, we're gonna have to evict, okay? So that, or we could say option 2, we'll pay you $120,000. You're gonna own owner financing. We put no money down. We'll give you a promissory note and deed of trust. We'll get the deed. We'll take ownership, evict the tenant, and then we'll go find a buyer. Okay. Then we would pay him in 4 months. I think that's enough time to evict and then find a buyer. Shouldn't take more than 2 months to evict unless he files an appeal. So we'd have to ask for a right to extend if he files an appeal. Or option 3, we'll pay you $150,000 as long as we can enter the property and get us in the property and let us estimate repairs. And as long as that estimate is, 40,000, we don't even have to put that in. And we could just say, we'll give you the full offer, your full price offer, provided you can get us in the house and we can estimate repairs. And then they're not going to require $40,000 or more. Those are my ideas, as to offer him those 3 options. Anybody else have any thoughts? Okay, well, put on your thinking caps. Lena, what are your thoughts? Because you're the one who's in contact with the guy. I mean, I'm not asking you to think of something new. What is your thought about doing this?
I mean, I don't know really, because when I spoke with them yesterday, he's definitely fed up with the tenants. He want them out so he can get the money to put somewhere else. So when I spoke with him, he says like he has other people. So it will be like, I feel like we have a little bit of competition. Probably option 1 will be very difficult. Because we have some competition in there, because I don't know if
Okay,
you
well,
really
sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you, and I do want you to finish, but let me tell you this. Of course, he says we have competition, but
Mhm.
he's been saying that for how many months now?
Yeah.
And think about it this way. Anyone else who's buying this has the same problem that we have. They have no idea what that inside looks like. Now, it could be if one of those buyers is not a wholesaler, if they are a rehabber and they want to buy it for themselves, they might be in a little better position than us, right? Because they don't have to have enough built in to make a wholesale fee and repair. But let me just ask you, each and every one of you, you've seen the comps. Let's just even assume on the high end, assume that's 280. Let's say it's 280 rehabbed. He wants 150. That's $130,000 margin. Okay. If you're a wholesaler, you're a rehabber. How willing are you to bet on the condition of that house with $130,000 margin? I mean, you might be, certainly you're in a better place than a wholesaler, because You can say, well, if it's in really bad shape and takes 100 to fix it up, which I think is unlikely, then I'm gonna make 30,000. Most rehabbers that I know won't touch a house if they're gonna make under 50, if they're an experienced rehabber. So at 150
Mhm.
and building in as a rehabber, you wanna make 50, that's 2. So that leaves you 80 in repairs. And, I've rehabbed properties that have cost me 30,000, and I've rehabbed properties that have cost me 100,000 in rehab costs. It's going to be in there somewhere, but that's a little tight for comfort, right? Don't you think? I mean, I don't know. What would you guys do if you were making this guy an offer? If we weren't in this class and you were analyzing this on your own, either as a wholesaler or as a rehabber, would you be willing to take that risk? It's a decent margin, but I don't know, it's just close enough to be scary, right?
Yeah, I think it's close enough to be scary because you have to also factor in the holding costs for getting the tenants out if they chose the first, options. And, you have to factor in that additional money that could easily get you over that, 50, 60K if you have to hold it before you can even get in there and do anything, right? So
That's exactly right. And yeah, I hadn't even right. There's gonna be cost for the eviction. You're gonna have to get an attorney, and it's not gonna be a couple $1,000s. It's not gonna be super expensive. We might go in there and do it ourselves, honestly. As the owner, I probably wouldn't say that if I wasn't a retired attorney, but I mean, I can go in there and do that without having a cost to us. But you're right, and we still have costs in the meantime, which is why I really like option 2. I mean, my thinking is we put together a letter and say, look, we really want, the house. We've gone over this a million ways, but just without seeing the inside, we have no way of knowing if this is going to cost 30,000 or 100,000. And so if we can't, sight unseen, we just can't, it's too close to call. So here's what we'd be willing to give 100,000, or we'd be willing to give more if you'd hold financing, or we'd be willing to give you your full price offer if we can get in there and that we're happy with the cost of repairs. I mean, I can't think of any other ways to do it. I suppose with
The
option.
tenant is not paying?
I'm sorry.
Is the
No.
tenant, he's not paying?
No, the problem is so I'm not able to see who's talking the way that my screen view is right now. Who was that?
Substance.
Substance. Okay. The problem is, Lena, you can tell them it's a relative and they're not paying, right? Lena, they've never paid.
Well, I don't know if they ever paid. I don't know, but they were supposed to be on a month-to-month lease, but they haven't paid in a while, and they're trashing the property, so they're getting code violation now.
So I wonder what they're trashing, because I didn't see anything that looked like a code violation. Do you think it could be just unmowed grass?
Probably because, yeah, because I found them on the code violation list. That's where I found the property.
Oh, I see, but it didn't tell you what the violations are.
No.
I
And
mean,
I'm sorry.
I've seen code violations for everything from mixing meth to having your lawn not mowed, so it's really hard to say. It could be anything. There's nothing about it that looks inherently dangerous to me, right? You guys see anything?
No, but I did wonder what that sign
Sign.
was, Lena, in the front yard.
The sign in the front yard.
There was a no trespassing.
I think that's just I'm
And I'm
in need of a mechanic.
And I'm
Also,
sorry,
yeah.
Kathy, Ty here. How long did you say it would take you to get them out if they chose option 1 just from your law background?
I've never done it in Mecklenburg County, so with that disclaimer, you can usually get an eviction within 30 days and then another 30 days to get them out. So I said 2 months.
Okay.
It could be longer in Mecklenburg County. I don't know. It's very much dependent on how backed up the courts are, which is why I wrote in there that if the eviction, takes longer, we would have the right to extend that payment date. I figured if you had 2 months to get them out, and then that's plenty of time to find a end buyer, 2 more months. Even if it took 3 months to get them out, that should be plenty of time.
Yeah, I think these are good options given that.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it's, if Lena's willing to do it, I can write the letter up for you, Lena, and email it. Well, copy everybody. And then if you're willing to present it, it could just be our last, and then we could just, walk away, because I just, I'm not willing to bet on it without seeing it. It's just too close to call.
I agree.
So what?
I've
No,
heard
go
of
ahead.
other people, I've heard of other wholesalers given permission from the actual owner, pretending to be someone to inspect the property, like a pest inspect something, right? There's already a code enforcement issue. Someone pretending to be somebody else to get into the property and at least get an idea of what the interior of the property looks like. Because that's just the big question mark. And I don't know if that's an option here.
You know what? That's a good idea, Tony. Lena, you could propose that to the seller. You could say, if you can get us in anyway, by hook or crook, like if you call the tenant and say, whatever you want to say, I wouldn't care. Just tell me the story. Just tell me the cover, right? I have someone come in to give me an estimate for pest control. I have someone coming to give me an estimate for painting. I have whatever he wants to say. If he could get us in, and I'd be happy to come down there and go with you. I mean, I don't know if the person's a little unstable or whatever. I wouldn't really want you to go alone, I don't think. But I'd be happy to come go with you. If he could get us in, you tell him that, Lena, tell him, if you get us in anyway, for option 3, I could include that in the letter, and then you could either email it to him or call and read it to him, whatever you're comfortable with. But if he can get us in anyway, like Tony suggested, then
Okay.
he can get his full price. But I don't think, I'm shocked if anyone's going to give him his price without getting in there. Some people are chatting. Oh, that's Tony. Is the tenant the biggest problem we're trying to solve? Yeah, the tenant's the biggest problem because he's not paying and we can't assess it. The potential sellers say how much he was looking for. Yes, he's looking for 150,000. Tony's right. Everyone's like us. An appraiser, inspector. Y'all can feel free to unmute and talk. A pest control. Right. There's some. If he can come up, but I think, Lena, didn't he say he wasn't even able to get in touch with him?
Yeah, they said they had like issues. I don't think they were even talking because the only time they were talking was in courts. I don't even know if they're in court over there. So they had a pretty messed up relationship because I think it's family member. So that's where it gets a little bit messy.
Yeah.
So
So I mean, it's definitely worth an ask, but it doesn't sound hopeful.
doesn't.
And all I can say is if he can't live with one of these 3 options and get us in there, or take option 1 or 2, I don't think we can do much more with it. In my opinion.
Sorry, I thought it was a pause.
No, go ahead.
Can they refuse to let an appraiser or an inspector in?
Well, sure. I mean, they can make it
They can make it
dangerous or uncomfortable.
They can make it, say it again.
I mean, yeah, it sounds like the landlord tenant situation isn't very well defined. So, I mean, I don't know if the person is, I don't want to send someone into a dangerous situation. You know what I'm saying?
What if I have a security company that'll, like, if I need them for my short-term rentals, they'll run up in there within the limits of the law, but they'll run in there and whatever it takes. Hey, owner, this is what it is. We need to come in. We need to inspect, and they'll be the strong arm. They'll be the muscle, for $150.
So are you saying so as long as the owner tells us that's okay, without the owner setting up in advance, we could do that?
That's right.
I'd pay $150.
The company, $150, and you just tell them what the situation is. Yeah, we're just trying to do a walkthrough for paint. The tenants are a little weird, but I'm the owner, basically, the owner. I'm the owner. I need to see my property. They'll certainly, they'll do whatever it they need to do. They'll call law enforcement and let law enforcement know, listen, on behalf of I've been contracted to walk with the all of that good stuff. They take care of things very well. $150 per incident. And yeah, they're great.
Okay, Lena, so you could convey these 3 options to the seller, convey that, and if he'll authorize that, it sounds like he would have to make the call, yes, Substance?
That's right, because as the owner, you know, this is my property.
Yeah.
The security company is going to need to know, like, they have authorization from whoever owns, and they do understand what it's like dealing with tenants. Oh, they evict too.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, they'll help evict. Like, we've had, you know, situations with squatters and stuff. Yeah, they'll run up in there and pretty much pick them up, put them out.
Squatters, but not with someone who's there with.
Right. These are like, yeah, these are
Yeah, you can't
tenants.
do
That's
that.
a little different. Mhm.
Hey, Kathy, is it possible to put that in the letter along with these options?
Yeah, I will do that. Is that something you're okay with, Lena, taking back to him?
Yeah, I can give him those options and send him the letter as well.
Okay, I will write it up as soon as we get off of here, and I'll send it out to the whole email list so y'all can see it. Or I'll put it in the Slack documents channel, one or the other. But
So, Kathy, do you actually run to this kind of situation a lot when there's a property with a tenant inside? Do you
no,
have?
not a lot, but certainly will. I mean, most this is an unusual situation because it's a relative. Usually if you have a tenant, you will run into landlords with deadbeat tenants. That won't be uncommon because that's, as you know, a prime target for a wholesaler is a distressed property. One method of distress, a very common method of distress, excuse me, is a frustrated landlord. Why are landlords frustrated? Because their tenants aren't paying. So finding a non-paying tenant is not unusual. Finding a situation where a landlord is unable to evict is unusual. And that's some weird relate in this situation because it's a relative. But usually if you have a landlord who has a non-paying tenant, that landlord will have the ability to evict. Now they may not want to, but you know, having a buyer will incentivize them. And in fact, it incentivized this seller because when Lena was first talking to him, he wasn't evicting. It was after her interest in her offers that he did get off his rear end and try to do an eviction. But for whatever reason, he doesn't have what he needs to evict. And again, without knowing the court records, my guess is that's because it's a relative and there's probably not a lease. And so it's probably not, if a lot of magistrates will say, if there's no lease, there's no tenant. So that's a different legal action. That's a trespass action, not a tenant. So it would be a different situation with a new owner. It'd be easier. So yes and no to answer your question. Yes, deadbeat tenants is not uncommon, but being unable to evict is uncommon.
Okay.
All right, so let's just, if you want to take the rest of our time and just everyone give us an update on what you're doing and what we can do to help. You want to start, Dolores?
I hadn't had any success last 2 weeks, so getting a little frustrated, but this afternoon I start looking at properties again.
What have you been doing? Remind me.
I was driving for dollars. I was sending letters out, not making many calls though.
How many letters were you sending?
100.
And how many times have you sent 100?
How many times? Since this class, I only sent one
Okay.
set.
So what verbiage are you using? Where did you get your letter?
I got mine from another person who does real estate with using the yellow letter.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So you feel pretty good about your letter. So it's probably just a numbers game if you've only sent 100.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm going to start tomorrow again looking at other properties and checking the properties out on Connect Investors.
For that 100 that you sent, did you get any response at all?
I didn't get any back.
I think that's good. Did you get any phone calls?
No, I didn't.
And what area were you marketing to?
I was doing Fayetteville, North Carolina, Shelby, North Carolina, and Laurinburg.
Okay.
Laurinburg.
I think for you, it's a numbers game. I think what you're doing is right. Just do it more.
Okay.
All right, substance. What about you?
I don't know why I keep getting these situations, Kathy, with these properties that has land, and I don't be knowing what to do with it. But
Oh,
I did
right,
reach
you
out
had that
to
commercial property. What's going on
and
with
that's a done deal because Karen she came on and gave advice and we ran things and it was like no. So now this next one that we're talking about, Dana's actually helping me
Okay.
understand it. Another house with land, and it's like I don't understand the land portion. So the house is totally condemned, has to be torn down, but then it's 1.6 acres. So I've been talking with the seller, and things seems very promising, but I don't know what to offer. And I know he's negotiable and he wants a contract and he wants to do it quick. He wants to do it in less than 30 days. And I'm like, well, shoot, all my research at the county office is not matching what he's saying. So I'm like, all right, listen, I need help with this thing. So I did. I know that Dana is close, so I asked her for help. So she's on her way back from the conference, and she's gonna help me out with that.
That's a great idea.
So it's the same. I told you it's just relationships. I talk to, I have a pretty extensive network, not in the real estate arena, but I do reach out to people, and I'm like, listen, I'll buy anybody's house. If y'all see something, tell me. See something, tell me. So I get these text messages from family and friends, and they like, hey, I know somebody, they got this issue. So that's what I've been dealing with, those type of leads.
Okay, so you have your sole outreach thus far has been through your network. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Well, are you willing to try to send some letters to branch out a little bit?
I'm willing to do whatever it takes.
I mean, I think that, you're getting some leads, but they're not good leads. So why don't
Right.
you try something else and maybe you'll have some better report next time.
Yeah. I'll try something else.
Try some
Something extra.
letters or some bandit signs or
I drive.
yeah.
So I have this
And
one I
driving
wanted
for
to check
dollars is
out.
one of my favorite things, but here's
Mhm.
two problems with it. Number one, volume. It's so easy to get a list and send to 200 people at a time.
Yeah.
And then the number two problem with driving is that you're in that situation that we talked about where you're calling them. So your rejection rate is going to be a lot higher. If you send something out, a letter, a postcard, or put a magnetic sign in your car, then you know that your leads are going to be better because they've called you.
Got it.
Which is happening to you anyway. You are
It
getting
is.
the right leads, but they're not the right properties.
Mm-hmm. There's a property that I saw today, and I reached out to I looked it up and I saw that it looks like it's owned by a building company, but they bought it back in 2020 and it's still sitting looking the same, boarded up, and they haven't done anything with it. But it looked like they purchased it for 300,000, and as of right now, it's worth less than that on the value according to Connected Investors. It's not worth 300. So I'm thinking,
Probably
if they
not
have
a good
to
lead.
tear it.
I mean, and in general, commercial properties are hard to wholesale. And
this is a
right
house.
now, sorry.
This is a residential home.
Oh, it's a residence. Oh, okay. I thought.
But it's boarded up.
Oh.
And it looks like a company that build homes purchased it in 2020, but they haven't done anything with it at all.
But is it in good shape or bad shape?
Terrible.
Oh. So, and you said it was sold, they bought it for 300,000?
Mm-hmm. And then if you want to look at it, we can look at it. 5126 South Tryon Street, Charlotte.
I'll bring it up and then are y'all seeing it or not?
Not yet.
Okay, hold on. Okay, now.
That one.
Okay. Yeah, it's hard to tell from that picture. One thing we could do is look up at the Register of Deeds. I mean,
There's a better picture on, oh no, my text message. That's why I was looking at it at. My picture from my phone.
you could look it up in the Mecklenburg County Register of Deeds and see if they have a mortgage on it, because if they paid 300, they might be willing to sell it for less if they don't owe on it, like if you pay cash. But how long ago did they buy it?
They bought it in 2020.
And is it something about that property, the location, that makes it valuable, you think? The
Yeah,
lot?
it's on a major, it's a major Charlotte street.
I mean, they probably bought it with the intent of going commercial. Is it in an area that could be done?
Residential.
No, residential, but it's a good, houses in the area are in the range of what?
They're in the range of what, 230, like what you're saying right
230, yeah,
there,
that
230.
makes no sense.
Mhm.
I would just,
But it's all boarded up.
yeah, well, I don't think I would waste my time on that one.
It also looks like they own that whole corner, by the way.
Hmm.
Corner,
Yeah, they own the corner, they own that property behind it.
Oh, so they bought a bunch of things and just not doing anything with it.
they have some plans for
They,
that, so.
yeah, they own quite a bit of this around. I mean, I'm on
Like,
deal.
is that apartments right there behind it? Looks like it.
Yeah, it looks like it.
Looks like apartment
Yeah,
complex.
I think they have plans for that. I wouldn't waste my time on that one.
Okay.
They didn't pay that money and buy the other land around it for nothing. With apartments being right back there, I wouldn't be surprised. They're gonna put up some multifamily or something. See right there? That looks like apartments.
Okay.
Yeah, I wouldn't waste my time on it.
And it looks like they paid cash, by the way.
Did you say it looks like they paid cash, Tony?
It looks like it, but I'd still double check, but yeah.
I just wouldn't, I wouldn't waste my time on that. I just don't. Okay, so I guess my best advice for you, Substance, is do something different than what you've been doing. Networking is great, but do either something like Lena did with condemnation, city code violations, or go on Mecklenburg County and pull a delinquent tax list, or go on Connected Investors and absentee owners or something. And maybe even try. What areas have you been working? It's not right.
Charlotte and Concord.
Charlotte and Concord, yeah, okay. All right, yeah,
The one lead from Fayetteville, I didn't get to go down there. It was just same thing, networking situation.
Yeah, but I think networking is great and you shouldn't stop doing it, but I don't think it's enough. I think you should be expanding your outreach, because I think, you'll find something. Hey, Tony, what do you got?
I recently stopped doing direct mail because I wasn't getting any response. I was just trying to do the math, but I was driving for dollars and I'd send everybody mail. I'd also text and cold call them. But I didn't get a lot out of that. I recently switched and I've been focused on SEO, and I'm trying to create inbound leads through a website.
Okay, that's good.
But I've been working on that. But what I'm going to start doing in May, and I'm setting up my process, which is really just how I'm going to track everything. I'm going to start doing agent outreach and try to talk to at least 30 to 50 agents a day. Because I'm going to do that for the entire month of May and see what type of results I can get from doing that.
And the letter that you were mailing out, where did you get your letter?
So a majority of the letters were just through the Deal Machine system.
Okay, so somebody's proven letters, more or less, right?
Yeah, essentially, yeah.
So I'm just going to tell you all this because I'm mentoring someone personally at the same time as this class. Well, the person I'm mentoring happens to be my son, so I just happen to know his statistics. I'll tell you what he's doing because he landed his first 2 deals. So he's mailing letters. He is doing it 2 ways. He's creating lists from Connected Investors by searching out-of-state owners, I think. And he's also buying lists from, I think he started with List Source and then he switched to Listify. The letter he's using is he took Robin Thompson's class, which was actually a rehab class, but he's using that letter that she provided. And he's having his mailings done by that service that I gave y'all a few meetings back that will, you just send them your list, they mail merge it, handwrite your envelopes and send all your letters out. I'll get numbers for y'all next time, final numbers, but I'd say he's maybe done 600 letters all told so far, because I think he's done 3 mailings, and I think they're each 200. And he's gotten probably, on average, 4 responses from each of those, so that's 12 total from 3 mailings. The first one was a commercial building, and it was a dud lead. The next 2 were lands, kind of the problem that Substance is having. Nobody was really interested in it. We did try to find someone, but we never got him under contract because he never got any interest in him. Then he hit on this guy with 40-something properties in between Greensville, North Carolina, and some part of Virginia. And he ended up getting 2 of those under contract, and he wholesaled those for $5,000 each. So he made $10,000. That was probably low. He probably could have gotten more, but he just really didn't know what he was doing. It was the first time. So I think, that was 600 mailings. I think, like I said, I'll get exact numbers for you next time, and I'll double check with him. So it took 6 mailings before he got a lead that turned into anything. So if you're sitting there and you've only mailed out 1, then that's just a little comparison for y'all. And I think the thing that Driving for Dollars does, again, I'm not saying stop doing it. I do it everywhere I go. I was in Nicaragua recently and I drove for dollars and ended up buying a house. So don't stop. I just don't think it's going to be enough, because how long are you going to be driving before you come up with a list of 600? And again, even if you do come up with 600, you probably really need to do 1,200 to get the same result as a 600 mailing, because those are people who are, get a letter and are contacting you back. You know what I'm saying? So it's just a numbers game at the end of the day. You got to do enough. Got to do enough. And there's a speaker at our last version of this class. I'll try to find the recording and put it up there for y'all, because he had an actual formula. And I just remember when I taught that class, telling people, if it's not working, just go back and watch this guy. I think his name was Charles. Watch his guest session. And if nothing else, do exactly what he's doing, because it worked. You don't have to figure it out. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. He's doing it. His was a combination of, he had a VA. So he was doing, I think, X calls per, let's say, week. I don't know if it's day or week. X calls per week, X mailings per week, and X Facebook postings per week. And his take on Facebook was pretty interesting, because he was not posting on like real estate groups. He would post on like yard sale groups or weird just community groups saying, I buy properties. So if I can find that, I'll put it back up in the recordings or repost it. And if you are struggling for a method, watch it, because it'll give you an idea of the numbers. If you just keep thinking of this in terms of a numbers game, if you do the numbers, something's going to work out. It's not what you're doing, it's you haven't gotten to the right people. And the only way to do that is to get to the numbers. Okay. Sorry, Tony, I think I cut you off. Anything else?
I mentioned agent outreach. I mentioned inbound, and the only other thing I haven't done is I was going to start to learn about Facebook ads, because I've heard a lot of people talk about that, and I have not dug into that yet.
Yeah, that's good. Or like I said, just go to the area, the community that you want to post in, even without doing an ad. Not their real estate groups, but their weird little community groups. Because if you think about it, they're like next door. It's like maybe on next door for an area, because people read that for all kinds of reasons, and you could fun. Whereas if you're posting in real estate groups, you're competing, with other people.
Yeah.
Okay, April.
So I've been doing mailers, sending out letters. I've sent, I think it's like 65 right now.
Okay.
But
Any response at all?
no.
Okay. Again, and where's your letter from?
I got it off Connected Investors, like their
Okay.
template.
So, I don't have a preference for a certain magic bullet letter. I know that Robin Thompson acts like hers is like the complete proven winner, but I think that's just hype. I would say that all of the sources that you all have told me you got your letters from are good proven sources. So I would be fine with any of that. Like, once again, April, I think it's just a numbers game. Any questions or problems?
I've been trying to design like a bandit sign as well. I'm just trying to figure out how to make it not look like a scam.
Yeah, I mean, that is the problem with those, right? Is the perception, but I don't know. I
Yeah.
mean, they might still work. So whenever I rehab a house, I have a sign that says, at the top, it says for sale, has my phone number, and then it has a picture, and then it says we buy houses. So that one I figure doesn't really look scammy, because that's the house I'm doing, but it's not, legitimacy is not the sign, it's the property. So I don't know how to
Right.
don't know how to solve that problem, but I feel you. But okay, I'd say just get some more letters out.
Okay.
Pascal, what have you been up to?
Yeah. Hey, well, not much, except I have one property that is ready to go. So I spoke with the owner earlier this week, and it's in Fayetteville. It's a small property. It's a 2-bedroom, 1 bathroom. And so the guy is like, okay, just give me an offer. It's free and clear. And we were talking about doing maybe a cash offer and a creative offer, maybe like some type of seller financing or something like that. It's a rental property, but there's no tenant right now. And but he has a potential tenant that is should be coming in for 825, I think by end of next week. And I told him to hold off, not sign the lease yet with the that tenant. And but yeah, he's very motivated. He wants to sell this house, this small house, and buy something toward the beach. So
This is something you might do and keep for yourself, not a wholesale deal. Is that what I'm understanding?
no, I rather just wholesale it. Yeah. So I was trying to figure out maybe, if we can run the numbers. I mean, I run over some of the numbers.
And so is this something you're proposing that the class would do, or is this something you're trying to do on your own?
Well, I mean, we could do it with the class and, and send an offer. It's just that timing wise is that I really need to send him like some type of an offer, early next week, really.
Okay, what's the address?
1103 Hood Avenue.
Sorry, what, Hood?
Hood Avenue.
OD Avenue in Fayetteville?
Yeah, Fayetteville, yes. So he bought it 3 years ago. There are not that many pictures, but if you were to put that address on apartment.com, I think you would see there are, more inside pictures.
So he bought it for 30,000, is that accurate?
Yeah, that's correct. Accurate. Yeah, he bought it for 30,000. ARV is about 75 right now for that
Are you
area.
guys seeing these interior pictures now? Yeah, okay.
Yep.
Did he give you any indication of what he would take for it?
Yeah, so the ARV that comes in that area is about 75, so about $100 per square foot, and it's a 720 square foot house. So, but he's willing to let it go like around 60,000. He told me. So, But again, he's willing to listen to an offer if we could make an offer, like, both either cash offer and a cash offer and a creative offer.
But so, all right, first problem I heard when you were saying is he needs it closed within 30 days? Is that what you said?
No, no. He
No,
was he has a potential tenant. Want to
Oh,
get
I got you.
at 8:25 by end of next week, and I told you to hold off. Don't sign the lease yet with that new tenant.
Is Mr. Kendrick the owner?
Yeah, Kendrick. Yeah.
I'm trying to look up this comp report. It'll take a minute to load. All right, are y'all seeing this comp report?
Yep.
Let's see. Nearby comps 78, 56, 53, 77, 115, 145, 50 hints all over the map. So here's our property. Number 4 sold for 77. Number 5 listed but not sold for 119, just listed less than a month ago. Number 1 sold for 78. Yeah, so I mean 75 seems accurate. Number 9, 77.5. And he said he'd take 65.
60 actually, he said.
60.
Yeah.
75. A wholesaler's gonna, and there's not, have you been inside it?
No.
The floors look fairly new, yeah.
Yeah, he did replace the floor. I did some painting. He told me this weekend he was supposed to paint to the kitchen as well. He did be a new toilet and I think the vanity as well. Those are new.
It's filthy.
Yeah, that part's a little bit. And then he has, I think there's a new I'm not sure if it was a new fridge or refurbished fridge that he had.
Damn sure needs a new one. It looks like
Yeah,
it needs a new stove too.
yeah.
Needs some new light fixtures.
Yeah. So I think, I mean, obviously, a bit of speculation, but I think he said he put in there between like 20 and 30. I didn't have the details what exactly he did with that.
You put 20 and 30 in, you think after these pictures or
I think that was after, that's what he said.
could you get him to send some updated pictures, you think?
Yeah, I can ask him to send, if we could get some of it. Well, no, the pictures we have right now, those are the recent ones. These are the new pictures. Yeah.
These are new?
Yeah. These are the new pictures. So,
I don't see where he put 20,000 in unless it was in really bad shape. He didn't replace any light fixtures. Maybe he painted. He maybe put in new floors.
yeah.
He didn't upgrade appliances. He didn't upgrade, could even refinish that. You probably wouldn't even need a new one.
I think just put the new, I think the new toilet, I think.
I don't think this is a new vanity because that's an old faucet.
Okay.
He would have put something nicer than that in there. I mean, it seems to me like no matter what, you're gonna want to put 10 in that. I mean, look, you need doors. Look at that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think doors.
I mean, it's gonna need 10 no matter what,
Yeah.
10 to 20. So
Plus the roof too. If you look at the roof, I asked him when was the last time the roof was changed. He didn't know, but it seems to me that this might need a new roof. I don't know.
yeah, I don't think it's much worth more than 50, honestly. I don't see how you could, I don't think there's any room to. I mean, a low price one like that would be really perfect for this class because we don't really care about making a profit, we just want to see it happen and not make a loss.
Okay.
Make $1,000 would be great.
Yeah.
But I don't even know if there's that much room in this one.
Okay.
Unless, there are more recent pictures than the ones we're seeing here. I just don't, if it's 60, I don't see how you get away with putting less than 10 in it, and no rehabber is going to buy that from you. I mean, okay, let's say a rehabber is going to have to put 10 in it. They buy it for 60. They're at 70. It's worth 75. If they're going to sell it, there's no profit for them even in that, you know?
Yeah, I mean, unless we could do some type of creative deal with you know, with, with a rehabber or cash buyer that want to put a tenant. Because when I talked to Cheryl yesterday at the meeting, at the wire meeting, yeah, I mean, she said that this area here will probably Fayetteville will be looking at between 900 maybe close to $1,000.
So your idea is to wholesale it not to a rehabber but to a landlord.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, you know what? That's a good thought. So then the landlord could come, put 10,000 in.
Yeah.
And rent it.
Yeah, that would be my idea. Yes, yeah, for wholesale too.
And did Cheryl think she might be able to steer you to anyone who might be interested in it?
We didn't talk specifically about the property. We were just talking about general, areas and in Fayetteville and just the general, rent for that area and for the size of the home. So like a 2-bedroom, 1 bathroom. So we're just talking general. So I didn't talk specifically with her on the details of the property yet.
Okay. Well, I wouldn't be opposed to that if we could get it for the right. I still think it has to be under 60, but man, if he said he bought it for 50 and put 10 or 20 in, do you think he's going to take less than 60?
I don't know. I think in terms of cash offer, maybe not, but since it's free and clear, he might be willing to. And he told me, we talked about that. Say, hey, we're willing to be looking at a creative deal where maybe you're gonna finance me, so seller finance. I say, yeah, why not? But the only thing he said, you definitely need to have some type of a down payment. I didn't go into the details yet on the down payment, but maybe it might be like something like a 5%, 5 or 10%, and with a 5-year or 10-year balloon or something like that.
All right, why don't you get to his bottom line?
Mm-hmm.
One way or the other. Cash, what's the bottom line cash, and what's the bottom line seller financing? But we have like a real strict time limitation, right? Because he might have a tenant. Is he gonna want to still sell it if he gets a tenant?
No, I think if he were to get a tenant, then he's just gonna keep the house. But again, so for me, so maybe what I could do is that first thing on Monday morning, I'll try to get a hold of Cheryl. But really what he wants right now is just to see an offer versus doing this back and forth. I said is lowers the bottom line is floor on the cash price would have been 60. And then on the creative side, seller finance, he said, just come with numbers. So I'll check with
Okay, and when you get to his bottom line, why don't you put it in the Slack, and then if we can make him an offer sometime during the week if it works out to be something we think we can do.
Okay.
Okay. And then you can also, just email me or something if you need something quick.
Okay. But you said, so let me, so this is kind of my first meeting, I didn't really understand. So when we bring properties here with the team here for the class, you say that we're not looking at making a profit, or how does it work?
Well, this is a good question because you're not the first person who's asked this. When you signed your student agreement here, the agreement is that the first deal that gets brought to the class, we would do as a class. So it's not your property, it's the class's property. So we don't really care about a profit because it's a learning experience. And then the deal was, if we get one done, we'll help you with individual properties. Otherwise, we don't help people with individual properties because that would be a mentorship, which is way more than $500 for a class. Mentorship to get personal help is thousands of dollars, or you're splitting it or something. So yes, if there's any doubts in anyone's mind about that, please go back and read your student agreement that you signed.
Okay. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
But this would be a good one because there's not a lot of profit in it one way or the other.
Okay.
And as for the class, we're not concerned with profit. As long as we don't lose money, we're fine. We just want to see the process work, right?
Yeah, okay, all right. Yeah, I think the only issue I might have here, I mean, obviously, I like to make a buck versus nothing, but the other issue I might have here, Kathy, is that time is of the essence here. So I'm not sure I have time to come back to him, mid next week and,
Right.
wait 10 days. It feels like really by Monday, I need to be able to come with two offers. Here's a cash offer, here's a seller finance offer, and, and then let's see what we get from there. So.
Yep, so I don't see this as being a real good candidate, but if something works out and you wanna do it, just
Okay.
email me, okay?
Yeah, okay.
All right,
So thanks.
yep, okay, Tony, who didn't we talk to? Let's see. Ty,
Hey there, I have stepped away for a second. So I'm in the same boat, Kathy, as Tony, and he and I have talked a couple of times. So he's using a website called Carrot that I signed up for too. And I am like him driving traffic to the site to try to get inbound calls. I haven't sent out any letters yet. So that's what I'm working on.
all I can say is of all the wholesalers I've known and interviewed and had as speakers, but the number one way that they've gotten properties is letters. So not to sound like a broken record, but it is a numbers game, if you're not tried letters, I would suggest trying them. I will try to find that recording from the previous session of this the first prep wholesale class and put it in there. If you guys want to see his formula, watch it, but it's a numbers game. If what you're doing is not working, and if you're not sending letters, I would just suggest sending letters in batches of 200 or 250, because that's the volume I think you have to get to start getting some dialogue. Maybe if you send 250 and then you get some phone calls, even if they don't work out, I think that's what happened with my son. At least he was encouraged, like the process was working. Well, I got these 3 leads, they didn't work out to be good leads, but it's working. So then he did it again, and then the third time he found someone. So it is a numbers game, and that's what I kept telling him when he got discouraged, is just keep doing it. But if what you're doing is not working, and if you're not doing mailing, since that is the tried and true method, I would just suggest that you do that. Okay. I think we've talked to everyone. If we didn't, let me know. I know Lena, I didn't ask you because we talked about your house, but is there anything else you want to talk about?
Oh no, I'm good.
Okay, all right, so sorry. I'm gonna draft up that letter and get it to Lena, and I'll do all of you. And then check the Slack for that recording if you want to get motivated. Really, really like to see us get something done, okay? Thanks, you guys. Have a good night.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.